Hey, YouTube viewers, and welcome to Right Now, episode 23 with Madelyn Patterson with one special question as we begin. Madelyn, are you ready?
I am.
You were ready. All right. If you had to eat one random animal on a deserted island, what would that animal be and why?
An armadillo.
And why?
I don't know. It's just the first animal I thought of.
So an armadillo on a desert island. Now, would you cut up the rings? Like, they have like a little ring on his back and like eat it like that?
No, but that's a good suggestion.
That is a good suggestion. So I hope that you're never on a deserted island have to eat an armadillo, Madelyn, but that's an interesting answer. I don't think I would have said that animal if I had to eat one. You know what animal I'd eat?
What animal?
I'd have to find some sort of deer type animal. Like an antelope or like a moose. You ever seen a moose?
I haven't.
No, me neither. So this episode 23, she doesn't know who Michael Jordan is, but this is the 23rd episode of Right Now. Check it out. Hey everyone, and welcome to Right Now, episode 23 with Madelyn Patterson. Madelyn, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Chase?
I'm doing good as well. Welcome to the podcast. Have you ever been on a podcast?
I have not.
You have not. Now tell our listeners or viewers as we begin what grade you're in and where you go to school.
I'm in 9th grade and I go to Providence Christian School.
Providence Christian School, 9th grade. Now, was 9th grade better than 8th grade?
Absolutely.
So you're officially in high school now?
I am.
How does that make you feel? Do you feel old?
I do feel old.
You should feel old now that you're officially in high school. As we begin on the podcast today, though, Madelyn, we call it Right Now because we want to encourage us all to live our life in the moment for the glory of God, as Ephesians tells us. So as we think about that thought and these questions, we always start the podcast with a surprise question. And you've already told me you don't like surprises, but here's the question. Do your best on this, Madelyn. I believe in you. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
If you could spend time with anybody right now, dead or alive, taking Jesus off the table or Bible characters off the table, who would it be and why? Michael Jordan?
No.
No. All right, not Michael Jordan. It's episode 23. We just had to make a Michael Jordan reference during the podcast. Who would it be and why?
I think I would have to say like Steve Prefontaine. My My 7th grade science teacher used to talk about him all the time. He was a big runner.
Okay.
I don't know if you know who that is.
I don't know who he is,
Okay.
but go ahead and tell us
He was
who
a big
is.
runner in the 70s, and he set a lot of records and stuff. But he still talks about him a lot. It'd be really interesting to meet him.
Now, would you want to run with somebody like that? That's like an intense runner, or you just like to just like sit and have coffee with them?
Maybe not go like on an intense run, but just words, a nice jog.
A nice, like, brisk jog where you could have a conversation. All right. Well, I do not know who Steve was, and I don't even know how to say his last name, but I love the thought of you interested in him because it's somebody that is of interest in your realm, because I know you like to run, and you're very into that. And the only time I run, and Auburn makes fun of me about this, but he wants to know if someone was chasing me, if that was why I was running. So I don't run for enjoyment like you guys do. But as we think, though, now on the podcast, let's shift from Steve, whatever his name was, and go to our more serious questions and talk about those. The first one is this, Madelyn, what is God teaching you right now?
He's really been teaching me lately to trust him. Like, I know that's just like a basic, like, fundamental aspect of being a Christian, but like, it's something like you have to like think about. Like, I feel like I never really took time to like just trust God. But, like, lately, like, I've been praying to, like, grow as a Christian, and God's been like, Madelyn, you need to trust me. I'm like, God, I do trust you. He's like, no, you don't. I'm like, yes, I do. He's like, no, you don't. I'm like, yeah, you're right, I don't. And so, yeah.
So what has been something, Madelyn, when you think about understanding, trusting the Lord, what has been something that helped you see that you really didn't trust him? I know you mentioned that you had this conversation in prayer and you felt like God showed you that, but has there been something specific that has happened or an event or two that has helped you see, man, I really don't trust God the way I should?
I think, like, when I get in stressful situations, I kind of, like, lean on myself and don't trust God. Like, I don't say, like, God, I know you're going to get me through this. I'm like, I have to get through this on my own. It's God can't help me now or something like that.
Yeah, that's a tremendous thought because I struggle a lot with worry and stress, and I've been so convicted in many different situations where in my area of stress or worry, it really is a lack of trust in who God is to work through the situation that I'm going through. So, Madeline, that's a tremendous answer and a tremendous thought for our viewers and our listeners today to be challenged in trusting God. Do we really trust Him? I think it's easy to trust sometimes for us as we think of the realm of salvation, but do we move our trust past just salvation into everyday life? So, great answer on question one, Madeline. And as we move to question two now, on a recent podcast with your brother, I asked him this question just kind of randomly about which lap of a mile was his favorite to run, and he said the fourth one. Would you agree or do you disagree?
Absolutely not.
So you disagree with that. So
Yes.
which is your favorite lap of the mile?
I would have to say the first one
Okay, why would you say that?
because you still have like energy. Like by the last lap, like he said, he still has energy. I don't. I'm dead by that point.
So you're dead by the last lap. Well, we've already gone through your favorite lap then of the podcast. We're on the second question, and our second question is this, and I'd love to hear your answer for this. How can God use your generation right now?
I think like being leaders and like standing up and living out like a Christian. Like when I was younger, I was always like, God can't use me now. I'm so much younger. People like always looking down on me. But as I get older, I realize like I'm getting that age where when I was younger, I looked up to people my age. And I looked up to how they like just acted like a Christian. They were different and I just really admired that.
So who was somebody when you were a little bit younger that you looked up to, and what was it about their life that impacted you?
It was a girl on my cross country team.
Yeah.
She was like just like the way she handled situations, she was just so like calm and peaceful, and she would always pray before we ran and everything, and you could just really tell in her life like she was a good Christian.
Yeah, and as you think about leadership and you think about standing up and making a stance for the what is right and what God's calling you to, there's a reality there for us all. We're all looking to somebody in a lot of ways. We're looking to a leader. We're following somebody, but there's also people looking to us. No matter how young we are, no matter how old we are, there are people still looking to us. And so you're exactly right about leadership. And in the world today with social media and in the world today in different contexts, a lot of people have platforms. A lot of people have followers. And the question there is, are you leading for the glory of God, or are you leading for the glory of yourself? And so I love your heart there. And I've watched you as a leader here at our church in a lot of special ways. And I want to encourage you and our listener and viewers today to be challenged to be a leader, no matter where you are and what age you find yourself in. So last lap, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Last one. What's a major current event of great interest to you right now?
This is kind of a little bit old, but it was like a week ago, I would think.
That's still current. We let week be current.
Yeah. You know those Satan shoes? Have you
Yeah,
heard about those?
Yeah, I have heard about those.
I think like the response that some Christians had just kind of like shocked me. Like some of them were like, "Oh, you're going to hell," like stuff like that. Like God's going to judge you for that, and well, God does judge us for that. But I think like that's also the people that Jesus died for. Like he didn't die for the righteous. He didn't die for people that maybe looked good on the outside. He died for ones that maybe didn't even love him.
Yeah.
Didn't care about him, the ones that were hopeless and lost.
Yeah. Well, he died for us all, and in that moment, the reality is people that aren't Christians are not going to act like Christians. And I think sometimes in the church today, we put this kind of reality on other people that's really not fair in a lot of ways. Now, I'm not saying what was done was right and agreed with that, and I didn't buy me a pair. Did you buy you a pair? No. All right. So, but the thought there is that that's somebody that doesn't know Jesus, that is acting out of their sin and rebellion, and it's an opportunity for us to not agree with what was done, but still love the person for the heart of them understanding the love of God, because I think the Lord still looks down with love on that person and desiring for them to repent of that and turn to Him. So did you see the Chick-fil-A version?
I did.
Yes, yes. So those are pretty funny, and the people come out with the Chick-fil-A version, and that was current. That's really like last week, and that was such a better current event than your brother's ketchup packet thought there, Madeline. So just had to throw that back out there on the podcast because I know there's great competition when it comes to between the Patterson siblings here. So, Madeline, great job on the podcast today.
Thank
Proud
you.
of you. Thank you for being a part of this and excited for what God's doing in your life in the days ahead, and looking forward to watching that and seeing the Lord work in your life and continue to work in our student ministry as well. And I want to thank all of you for watching and listening to today's podcast. We encourage you to like, share, and subscribe, as we always say, and love for you to be reminded to live your life right now for the glory of God.